Today's workout is a shoulder workout, which you don't need weights for, so it's easy for you guys to do at home. The emphasis on this is to work on your rotator cuff and the upper back. Okay, so we're gonna focus on strengthening out your upper shoulders. So this is applicable to a lot of athletes, especially athletes that have a overhead reach, but it will improve anyone's shoulder, especially on the male side, but most likely every athlete will benefit from this, especially now with our new style of life in society where we spend too much time sitting and we're in a random position from our phone, laptop, and so on. Okay, we tend to be slightly round the front. It is due to bad posture, tightness in the front of the shoulder, okay, especially in the pecs muscles, and a weakness in the rotator cuff and upper back muscles. So today, everything we're gonna do, or most of it, will focus on reinforcing rotator cuffs, and then all your muscles that assist with the shoulder blade stability and health, so serratus, and so on. So the first exercise we have today is the open book sweep. The main goal of this is basically to kind of prep our body, but the biggest one will be to really work on the mobility of our thoracic and opening up our chest. So multiple variations of this one. I'll show you a few of them. What I want you guys to do for this is I want you to do one set of 10, and if you want, you can try all three, and from there have 3 sets of 10. But really, if you just really today just need one set of 10, if you feel like you're tight, you can go up to 15, 20, completely fine. For this demo, I'm going to show you all 3. I'll do 5 of each, and then I'll let you guys do what you need to do, and then according to your body, and from there we'll get started with the rest of the workout. So for this one, again, everything today is done without equipment, so if you were to be in the gym, you would probably use a foam roller to put under your knee. In this case, you're going to fall over and stack up your knees, okay? By stacking up the knees, it prevents you from, 1, having that hip falling forward. 2nd, stack up your knees once, okay, if you're moving your hips out of the way. Okay, so we want to keep sure our knees are touching at all time. So the first version we're going to do, okay, it's not the open book, so just an open book. We're just going to open up through and stretch out through the chest and the front of our body. So you're going to lift up as tall as you can, reach over, fall, and reach to the other side. Notice as I'm reaching, nothing has moved, nothing stays in place. My eyes are tracking my top hand. I am reaching up, over, falling down, trying to be as relaxed as I can, driving my shoulder towards the ground, hand touches the ground, and I come back in. Okay, again, go through. Take your time. Notice I'm not just like rushing into it. You want to take your time, go long, and then feel the stretch, open up your chest, and back down. The second version, we're gonna basically open up. So with this one, improves more shoulder mobility, not just so much open up the chest. So we're gonna sweep the floor above our head, keeping our eyes on our hand as much as possible. And then we're gonna open up the chest at the end, coming back through and closing the book. So we're gonna go up, I'm gonna sweep the floor, sweep, keep my hand as long as I can along the floor. If you're not able to, it's normal. Some people might be a thing, okay, keep it up, strike, let it hang. So if you can, keep it along the floor, look at it as much as you can, and then close the book, okay? Some of you might find that your shoulders are really tight and you lack mobility, so you'll probably start sweeping, and at some point you're just gonna get stuck and you won't be able to reach anymore, okay? It is not ideal, but don't panic if it happens. Just work through your range of motion and try to improve that shoulder mobility by forcing a little bit, obviously keeping your outside, forcing a little bit your hand towards the ground and then sweeping through, coming back. This can also be reversed. If you want, you can open up the book and then sweep above to close the book. Okay, those are 2 good options. Oftentimes, guys, what I'll do is I'll do 10 of each. And then the last version is one will prep more to the back and just more of a sweep. Okay, it's purely more for mobility of shoulders. So you're gonna open up a shoulder blade. You're gonna push the most. I'm not dropping down trying to reach. I'm opening up, so I'm gonna round up my back, push my shoulder blade forward as far as I can, and then opening up and stretching out through my rhomboids and between my shoulder blade to my spine. I'm gonna extend that circle, make it as big as I can, stretching out the shoulder, improving its shoulder mobility. I'm gonna go as far out, and I'm gonna come back through, wide, bigger circle, and back in, okay? As I'm doing this, notice I didn't just speed up through the process. I took my time, reached out, and then I swept slowly over, trying to open up everything, and then coming back through. Okay, and again, you don't want to be reaching, you want to just push your shoulder blades open up, create that rounded shoulder inward. I know it defies the purpose of the idea of fixing our posture, but in this case we want to open up so we can stretch out the rhomboids, spread the rhomboids, and then focus on opening up through the shoulder blade, which will extend your lat serratus as we go on, and then our chest, and then back through. So this is the first one you're going to do. You have your open book sweep, and modified version of it. So let's start with that for warm up, and then we'll move on to the rest of the workout. All right, so for the bulk of the workout today, we have 5 exercises, 6, 4 of which are really similar, and then the first 2 being also fairly similar in terms of posture and position, but the pattern of it will change. So the first 2 will focus on shoulder mobility. It will still have a lot of strengthening, but a lot of mobility through it. And then we're going to move to more just strengthening the upper back and rotator cuff to improve our shoulder health. So the first 2 are called quadruped. So it's basically the position we're going to be in. We'll call it the dog position. I like to call it quadruped because you're in 4, but in reality you're going to go into a tripod position because one arm will be off the ground as it will be working on its mobility in the shoulder. So the first one, we have a supine overhead punch. Supine because we're going to finish with an open palm at the end, and then next thing will be a prone overhead punch because we're going to have actually like a punch which our palm, so we'll be facing down. So starting up the first one, okay, again, you understand this is all about mobility. Okay, so you want to be in control, but you want to try to force the range of motion through. Okay, because mobility is part of the range of motion, so you want to move around. Flexibility is another one. In this case, it's mobility. Flexibility takes a lot longer to adapt and improve, whereas mobility can be improved a lot quicker, and enough of them can be improved within a session. So we'll address mobility first, and then we'll focus on flexibility another time, but mobility is what we need the most. So find something comfortable for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to use my foam pad just for my knees because this is kind of hard ground. And what we want to do here is we want to find a position where it's stable. Okay, keep that neutral spine, head in place, and then once you find a position still, you're going to bring it. So again, we're going to go to the first one, which is a supine. So what you want to do is you want to make a fist. Creating a fist will add tension to your shoulders, which will then improve on its strengthening, but the stress also adds an extra aspect to when we focus on mobility. So the more tension we can create and mobility you can create through a resistance, which is what we do in sport, we have resistance when we play, the better our mobility will then improve and the faster it will improve. Okay, if I were to just move with my palm open, no stress, no pressure, no strain on the shoulder, I could increase my stability quickly, but it wouldn't relate to my sport. Okay, it would also lack in strengthening because I'm not overly engaged in my shoulder. So in this case, make a fist and squeeze the fist as hard as you can to add more strain and stress to the shoulder, okay, which will then lead for you guys to a strengthening the shoulder as you're working to the mobility pattern. So this one, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to actually pull my shoulder blade down and back. I'm going to squeeze, I'm going to lift my arms to the back of my arms as high as possible, but I don't want to rotate into it. Okay, I want to make sure I'm as flat as I can, stable. From here, I'm going to punch out, and as I punch out, I'm going to open up my hand, open up, so reach, okay, with my fingers, make a fist, and come back through. As I come back through, I want to be as high as I can. And again, I'm going to go out, rotate as everything. I'm going to keep my hand as high as I can, reach out, make my fist, come back through. The goal here is to maintain that upper reach. Okay, so I'm rotating through, bringing in mobility, but that reach also improves the mobility, which allows me to reach further back. Okay, shoulder can go multiple position. It is one joint that has no actual true socket. It is mainly held in place by the muscles. So we want to make sure we're building on the stability of the shoulder through the muscles and creating balance. In this case, I'm going to rotate through, but as I'm rotating, my shoulders are set in place, my shoulder blades are set. Okay, I am not slouching forward, things tight. I am reaching up, rotating, reaching above, making my fist back, coming back through, okay? And I am squeezing. Everything is tight, it's hard, it's engaged, and I'm reaching through. And I try to keep my ceiling as high as I can, so I'm pushing against that ceiling, going up, 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 reach, back down, okay? So keeping that core tight, everything's engaged. I reach up, I'm gonna go out, expose my palm, make my fist, come back through as far back as I can, okay? So what you wanna do here is you wanna do 3 sets of 15 per side. Don't go fast, don't rush into anything, take your time, okay? Mobility takes control. So work within your control. Every time try to go higher, try to maintain that speed. One thing you might notice is as you get tired, you might actually start falling down, okay, where your hand will be able to be won't be able to hold that position in place as long.
which is still fine, okay? That's just a sign that your stamina isn't great yet. We will work on that. But right now, 3 sets of 15 with no weight should be plenty for you guys to do with this. Once you've done both sides 3 times, then we'll move on to the other one, which is the prone overhead punch, where we're gonna finish with our hand down. For a lot of people, this is easier to start because what we're doing is we're actually gonna tuck our wrist and our fist by our chest down. I'm gonna keep it flat. And now this time I'm gonna kind of punch, I'm actually gonna rotate through and punch out. But this is where we really wanna work on that reach and that ability to punch out and create a better mobility backwards so we can stack our shoulder blades over the top of the ribs. So I'm gonna get set, squeezing everything out. I am not shrugging, shoulders is down and back still. I'm gonna punch up, go as high as I can, keeping that fist engaged, and then come back down, okay? What we're trying to do here is we're trying to reinforce the upper back and make sure we can stack up properly. So I'm gonna squeeze, I'm gonna lift up, go as high as I can, pull it back, okay? And everything is going to be engaged, stacking on my joints. This is a great position for stability as well. If you're gonna do any overhead carry, if you can stack all your joints on top of each other, on top of the ribs, it'll be a lot more stable when you do anything overhead, rather than just holding it above the shoulder where mostly it's the muscle doing the work and the joints aren't really stable. Okay, creating that stability through will also improve on your health. So, like the previous one, we want to make sure we're doing this in control. It's a mobility, so we're gonna get set. Okay, and what you guys are gonna do is you're gonna punch out, reaching as high as you can, and coming back down in control. Okay, don't rush anything, and take your time. Improve on that mobility and strengthening as you reach up. 3 sets of 15 again. Basically today, everything we're gonna do is 3 sets of 15. It's just a generic number, I know, but it is an ideal number when you don't have any weight to create on and add tension. Okay, so take your time, do your 3 sets of 15 per side, and then we'll move on to the last 4 exercises. All right, so our last 4 exercises are all pretty much the same. Okay, so we're just gonna do it laying. You're gonna lie down in front, so lying, single arm, I, Y, T's, and W's. Okay, the reason why we're gonna go single arm is because I want you to be really aware we're gonna focus. It's easy to achieve the pattern we're only gonna do, we're gonna do both side times, so that we just hyper hard shoulder back, which is not ideal, is what we're looking for here. We're trying to focus on the upper back, not focusing on lifting with the air strikes planning. We're also trying to focus on the one, so you always have an imbalance within your body, so you'll know that if you're doing 50 on the right side, you only did 12 on your left side because you're unable to do more, then you have an imbalance, okay? So that's one thing we need to address. So make sure everything we do this, you're gonna start with the weak side first. For me, obviously being my left hand, due to injuries and the fact I'm right-handed, so my left arm's gonna be a little weaker. I'm gonna try and match my weak every time, okay? I don't wanna increase and feed that imbalance. I wanna actually maximize my ability to come back to close to 100%, which is impossible to be 100%, but the closer we can be, the better we're gonna be, the more efficient you're gonna be, and the healthier you're gonna be. And also by focusing on the one side at a time, you can really just notice the difference in terms of strength and your range of motion, okay? So you'll know what to address in the future when you're actually focusing on mobility. So first one is the eye, okay? I see a lot of issues with this when people do it, is they tend to cheat in their movement pattern. So what we want to do in this case first is, we want to lie, and we want to keep our neutral spine, so we want our head down. For the sake of today, I want to keep my head up because I want to talk to you guys, but in reality, we want to keep our head down as much as we can to make sure we have that neutral spine as close as we can. And plus, keep my head up, force everything back. Now my chest is off the ground, my back is arched, okay, and I'm no longer focusing on the right muscles group. So you want to make sure your head is down, i.e. your forehead should be against the ground. Okay, for the eye, I see my people do the thumbs up, palm down. There's multiple versions in this case, okay? We're gonna keep the thumbs up for the Y. For the eye, I wanna keep our palm down. This is one where, again, we wanna make that fist as much as we can, but if you can't lift your arm at all, keep an open palm, okay? Biggest issue I see people cheat with this is as they lift, they shift away. They don't truly lift their arm, they just shift away. Second thing, we wanna make our arm as straight as we can, okay? We don't wanna pull it forward because that will just stretch it out. We wanna make sure it's set in its right place, so shoulder down and back. We wanna lift the back of our palm, okay? If I make the fist, I'm gonna lift my knuckles. If I make the palm, I'm gonna lift the back of my wrist and palm, okay? The biggest problem is that people start lifting and they start flying their elbow out and curling their arm in. So now it's no longer the back muscle working, it's the front of the deltoid caused by the muscle activation of the bicep, which causes us to lift our arm, okay? I want to make sure it's the back working, not the front. So I'm going to keep my head down and I'm going to lift one arm at a time in control. I'm going to be relaxed, and then from there I'm going to set, activate, and lift as high as I can. Okay? And you're going to repeat, same thing. Reset every time, set shoulder down and back, up, back. Notice I didn't lift over, my arm didn't curl, I didn't bend in, anything. Everything is set straight, set, lift. Okay? I'm not jerking it up, because if I just jerk, I'm going to lose control. I'm just using momentum. I'm all in control. Through this, I can still improve on my range of motion, which is great. Through straightening, down, squeeze, lift. Okay, that's all you want to do. That's all you do for your eye. And again, like I said, the sets are 315 per side. You might notice that on one side is going to be a lot stiffer. For sometimes, the stronger arm is not as mobile because it is so stiff through every muscle. So a tightness in certain muscle like your lats can cause issues where it affects your ability to lift up or your chest. So be conscious of that. Try to feel in your body. So if you feel anything that is kind of overly tight or overly working, and then from there you know what to address next to improve on your mobility and range of motion. So that is for the I. Going to our Y, what we want to do here, okay, so we want to go from where we were to a 45 out. This is where we want to have our thumb up, okay? Some people refer to this as the full can position because when your thumb is up is opening up, the can is up. When your thumb is down, it's called an empty can because you're emptying the can. Just to understand, thumbs down is never to be used as an exercise. It is purely used for physiotherapists to assess shoulders injuries, okay? So, and straightening. So make sure we're always keeping our thumb up, our palm down. But we don't want to full rotate because adding too much stress onto this can cause more damage, especially if you don't have proper stability and positioning your shoulder, okay? So thumbs up. From here, you can sit the other arm if you want, or you can rest it on the front, it's however you want. Especially position again, where your neutral spine and everything will be facing down, okay? My thumb's gonna be up, I'm just gonna think. Again, mistake, people tend to curl too much, using more of the bicep, or they start dumping over. What we want to do here is as straight as we can, and we're going to lift. So this one, we're going to actually pull the shoulder blade down a bit more, because in this position it's kind of tough to pull it towards the spine. It's just purely straight down, even though we're keeping it tight towards the spine. It's not going to pull in towards the spine, okay? The fiber of the muscles vary along our back. So while we're trying to pull in this more, so we're going to get more rhomboids to this, and lower traps. So still using the rotator cuff, we're going to involve just a bit more muscle groups, and then we're going to lift up, straight to the side, and back through. Okay. For some of you, this one might trigger some tightness to the shoulder. Okay, if you've had shoulder injuries, such as shoulder impingement or any type of a shoulders, might find some tightness through. It will vary. Some you might feel in the back, might feel it right into your shoulder. Okay, in the joint. So you have an AC joint issues that can trigger that, or sometimes it is caused by tightness in your chest. So don't panic if you feel it more in here than you're in your back. If you do so, then you might want to see a physiotherapist. If not, keep on working, and you might find that middle part, upper back, will be burning as you add on to the reps. Okay, so down, lift, back through. Okay, same thing. Don't shift over. Try to be as square as you can, and then set your shoulder first. Alright, guys. Our last two exercises are the T and W, the last two letters. For these two, okay, like I said, I like the single arm because they really expose weaknesses and imbalances. But in this case, if you feel like you need to, you can absolutely do them combine it. So meaning doing a bilateral, 2 sides at a time. By doing so, it allows for you guys to really work on more strengthening, as it makes it a little easier than the I and the Y. But again, if you really want to improve on your imbalances and other issues you might have, okay, do one at a time. It's all easier. So the first one is your T. So like it says, we're going to go to a T form with our body. Make that T, okay? What we're trying to achieve here is make sure that we're lifting proper portion of our arms, so it's going to be the back of our wrist, the fist knuckles, and the elbow. Don't want to try to lift your fist up and hyperextend your elbow. Okay, keep everything moving at once. And the last thing we want to ensure is to avoid is to shrug up. To otherwise people lift and they lift forward, dumping their thumbs up. What happens, that shrugging motion dumps shoulder forward, which is not an healthy thing. We want to be able to keep our shoulders down and back. But also lead to a overuse of that shrugging motion, which can then lead to shoulder impingement. Okay, let's keep your shoulders safe and healthy. Let's stay away from shrugging. I'm not saying shrugging is bad, but we want to minimize its effects, especially when we work on a shoulder like this. Unless you're working on shrugs for trap exercises, in this case, keep everything down and back in good, proper posture through everything. So, if I'm going to go 2 arms at once, okay, I want to start lifting, make my fist. I'm going to set my shoulders down and back. I'm going to lift and squeeze my shoulder blades in as if you're trying to squeeze something between them. Okay, whether the analogy is used, squeeze a finger, squeeze a pencil, just squeeze something through your shoulder blades. Okay, if you're going to go on one side type thing, and this is where sometimes people have more of an issue, is they will start lifting forward and engage their traps heavily. Make sure to set your shoulder down and back, and then you're going to lift up. And if you feel arms pulled back a bit, it's fine. Okay, don't panic. I'd pull worry about, hey, I'm not full into a T. It's not a big issue. Might pull back a bit. It just means that some balances are easier for you to pull backward, and if it helps you resisting the shrug motion, then for all means do it. Okay, make sure you're lifting up. So again, set shoulder down, back, lift, squeeze, back down. Then last ones are W's. Okay, so what you're gonna do, not to confuse with people do an L or a external shoulder rotation. Make sure our elbows are tucked in closer. What we're gonna do, okay, is we're gonna squeeze the shoulder blades in, back, and down. Okay, by doing so, we're gonna work one of our lower traps and rhomboids, which is oftentimes muscles that are overlooked when it comes to shoulder stability. As well, same with the serratus, which we haven't talked today. We'll talk in a future video. Today it's only the upper back rotator cuff. So this is two muscles that are oftentimes weak in athletes and causes injuries, issues. And people only always say, just fix your rotator cuff, but those are two overlooked, and we need to address them as well. Okay, so we're just gonna squeeze down, and what we're gonna do again, think tight, shoulders set down and back. I'm gonna squeeze in as hard as I can, come back. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna drive the elbow, but the back of my fists are also coming up. Okay, I don't want to just lift the elbow up and dump forward, which again creates that shrugging motion. I'm actually lifting up, squeeze, back down. Okay. See, my head is up, so I want to talk to you guys, but I think you want to be down, because if I'm lifting up, look, I'm arching, so it's no longer the same dynamic of the exercise. So keep your head down, shrug, come back. Again, for all of those, you want to do 3 sets of 15 aside. Okay, take whatever break you need in between. Anywhere from a minute to a minute 30 should be plenty. Muscles can recover a lot quicker than your brain, and this is, since it's a muscle workout, focusing really on reinforcing the muscle fiber and the muscle itself. The central nervous system is not as heavily targeted, so you can take shorter breaks. As long as you're able to do your reps in, okay? If you want to improve on stamina, obviously you can improve on your reps count. If you want to improve on your ability to recover, you can minimize your breaks, which would then improve on your recovery, and so on. Okay, so best of luck, guys, with this, guys. If there's anything you want to see in the future, want to know, want to work on, just leave a comment whether on the Instagram page at evoathletics.ltd or on my YouTube account, EVO Athletics. Okay, just looking for you guys' suggestions of what to do next, and I'll try to post of these more often, hopefully on Tuesday, Thursday, for you guys to help through this time of pandemic and being stuck at home.